25th. Roll call, please.
Chair Bussey?
Here.
Mr. Hamburg?
Here.
Mr. Stein?
Here.
Mr. Ganzer?
Here.
Mr. Dorschel?
Here.
Entertain a motion for approval of the minutes from March 28th, 2016.
So moved.
And there was a second from
Second.
Mr. Dorschel. Any additions, corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, minutes are approved. Appearances, anyone here wishes to appear on an item not on the agenda? None. Unfinished business, 5A, consideration of action on a sign permit request for the Gordon Flush Building and site at 2501 Kilgust Road, including 2 wall signs and a landscape ground sign as requested by Zing Design, tabled on 328. Do we need to, is there a motion to raise this from the table? Yes, sir.
Have to abstain.
Oh, boy.
Aren't we okay once we've convened with a quorum?
Probably, yeah, sure. We need a motion to remove this from the table.
Move removal of this from the table.
Go ahead. You were going to say something, Jeff?
Well, I was going to say, I don't think there's anything wrong if a member of the quorum abstains, but anyway, I so moved to remove it from the table.
Okay. So between the two, you can choose a. All those in favor of removing it?
Aye.
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 Good. All right. Welcome. You want to, since it's no longer tabled, you can present your request tonight.
Fantastic, thank you. My name again is Fatty with Zing Design. You've seen us here before for the outdoor expansion parking lot. This time it's for the signage for the front entry, the ground sign, and then replacement really on the other street side, which is the Southtown Drive signage that's existing. We'll start with the front entry, the tower element, if you will, at the canopy, which you see up there on the right side in color. That's just 12-inch block letters, illuminated Gordon Flush logo and letters with the building numbers, as you see there. Right on the masonry wall that's recessed in 4 inches back. The ground sign is basically the removal of the other one that's existing and replacement more to the north of the site, and similar in nature. It's also illuminated, but on both sides, visible from both sides of the street. It is, as you can see on the plans, it's well within the setback limits, about 29 feet from the curb line, about 4.5 feet tall, 11 or 12 feet almost in length, with some smooth face masonry to complement the existing building and the new masonry on the canopy entry. I guess any questions in regards to that?
We'll see. Sonia, do you want to hang there in case there's any questions? Sonia?
After the Gordon Flush parking lot and building alteration zoning permit was approved, one of the conditions of approval of that was that all signage come back to the Plan Commission, so we're here tonight. Approval is recommended as listed in the staff report with a couple of standard conditions of approval, including that the existing landscape ground sign be removed and that all required electrical permits be obtained.
Discussion? Motion.
Move approval, subject with the findings of fact and conditions of approval recommended by staff. Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Moving on to new business. 6A, public hearing and recommendation to City Council on ordinance amendment required by state and federal law to Title 13, Chapter 2 of the Monona Municipal Zoning Code regarding floodplain and shoreline wetland zoning. Case number 2001-2016. Sonia?
We received the letter from the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources that was included in your packets. And on the second page, it lists requirements for communities that have an updated flood insurance study. That is the section that applies to us. It explains that there is a new flood insurance study with new volume names and effective dates. And the old one is no longer valid, so we need to replace that in our ordinance. And the DNR determined that this could be done administratively with myself just making those revisions in the code, but that we check with our legal counsel. City Attorney Bill Cole said that we should go through the full ordinance revision process, which included the Class 2 notification in the newspaper, Plan Commission recommendation to council, and 2 readings at council. So this is the first step in that process. There are no changes to any of the flood insurance rate maps for Monona, and no changes within the flood insurance study for Monona specifically. The changes were regarding different community in the lower Wisconsin watershed. And those are my general notes, if you have any questions.
Questions?
My only question, does this have anything to do with the new rainfall data that we're required to use that was recently adopted? Or is this purely because of a different community? Because you say the flood insurance study for our area didn't change at all, so it didn't raise the
Right.
floodplain or anything. So it would seem that it's not in regards to the new rainfall data.
Okay. The email that I got from Emily at the DNR said that it was due to some stream studies being updated.
Okay, thanks.
Further discussion? Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, can I say I move recommendation to the council for approval?
That's what I second.
That's what he seconded. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Number 7, report of staff and commission members. Staff report regarding status of development project proposals. Sonia.
I passed around a 2-page memo just listing some updates on recent development projects so that you can just have an updated list. So just highlighting some of them, I noted at a different recent meeting that Summit Credit Union had originally proposed to tear down the La Bamba site at 5809 Monona Drive. They do continue to plan for that, and they own the site outright, and they'll look at constructing a branch bank in Monona in 2017 or 2018. I'm working on scheduling a tour of the second item, the water tower office building, the big glass one next to Woodland Park. There's been an extensive remodel of the interior, and I was unable to make the open house. So if any of you are interested this week or maybe a different date, let me know, and I can work around your schedules if you're interested in seeing that. Let's see, Rosie Cheeks & Co. was approved to move into the GT Mobility site, and they are currently doing some interior work. They'll be in there by June. I have no new updates from Tipsy Cow. I know that's something that residents and other people inquire about every once in a while. They originally were looking at the building now occupied by Jang's Asian Kitchen, and I haven't heard from them recently. A few other expansion projects. On the back, worth noting, the proposed Meineke that the Plan Commission approved back in November got through a couple of meetings at the CDA. The CDA did authorize the city attorney to negotiate a TIF agreement up to a certain amount, and between the applicant and what the city attorney was authorized to negotiate, agreement was not reached, and so they've withdrawn their plans, and they're going to build elsewhere outside of Monona. In the ordinance section, staff has been working on a complete recodification of our code book. I believe the last one was done in 1994, and we're working with a company called General Code. A lot of other communities in the area use that service, and the main updates are to go through and correct any inconsistencies in numerical references and to review our ordinance for updates per state statutes that have been passed since 1994 and make sure that we're consistent with those things, to correct naming inconsistencies, if you call it Board of Appeals here but zoning Board of Appeals in another area, making those things match. It's also doing a reformatting and putting it into an online version that's easily searchable and backed up nicely. Right now it's just in a PDF copy on our server. So those are the main updates. We can also look at some legislative and policy revisions during this. And one that the city administrator recommended that we look at is the lighting code. Recently, with the complaints with the Oneida Park shelter lighting glare situation, it was difficult to say exactly where we went wrong in that review process, whether it's Plan Commission, facilities, the architect, city council, somewhere along the lines that glare of the lighting was overlooked. And in looking into our lighting code, it is a little bit vague. So there might be a better way and a simple way to update our lighting code easily as part of this process. So that was one thing that we could look at. Another area that we've been working on is the sign code. However, that one might take a little bit more work in order to figure out what to do with the Reed v. Gilbert case, since a lot of other communities haven't yet updated their sign code for consistency with that new case law. So we'll continue to look at that, but may not get it completed during the recodification process. So I think the process for Plan Commission involvement in general would be, what I'm thinking is to bring forth the editorial analysis and legal summary that General Code put together. And it goes through kind of a step-by-step and says, we found this inconsistency here, and this is what we recommend, and then you check a box, yes or no. And I've already gone through that and made my recommendations. I can bring that analysis to the Plan Commission. And they've also put the entire, let's see, I have them listed in here, the fair housing, floodplain and shoreline wetland zoning, subdivision of land and zoning. Those are all code sections that apply to the Plan Commission, and they've reformatted those into the new version of the code, and I could send that out by PDF if you want to look through any specific sections.
So this company is basically going to look for inconsistencies, but as far as if we want to make revisions to, say, the sign code, we want to make, instead of 6 foot, we want to make it 7 or whatever. The sections that are relevant to the Plan Commission, you're going to send all those out for us to review. How many are there?
It's about this thick.
Do we want to break it into pieces and spread it out over time?
Well, I think some of their revisions are going to be just, like she said, grammatical and changes. And if they're going to take that much but have 30 recommendations, we recommend changing A, B, C, D. That might be relatively easy to look at.
That would be, but if there's, and I'm picking on the sign code, if we want
Appropriately so.
if we want to pick, if we want to change it to allow something different, but there are other ordinances that impact the Plan Commission, and if it's this thick, I think we should review them to see if we're comfortable continuing as is or if we want to make changes. But I don't know, could we do that in 1 or 2 sessions, or should we break it into pieces and spread out that review over time like we did the comprehensive plan?
How much time do we have in our recodification process?
I think the goal for all of the grammatical and reformatting things was to have most of the committee reviews across all city committees completed before budget season. So I think that is relatively a manageable task without things like the sign code that might take a little bit longer. I think there are some things that might be a little bit easier, like the lighting code, but maybe at that first review when we look at the legal and editorial analysis, if there are any sections that you've all been thinking about, or you read through and you remember that there was an issue with it that you might want to look at a little bit more in detail, we could.
But that's about 100 pages.
It's the same as the existing zoning code, just reformatted. So it's not 100 pages worth of detail that you'll need to review. All of that's summarized in the editorial analysis.
So you think we could, if we put it on the agenda for a meeting, we could get through it in a night or two? Okay.
So,
Depends on the agenda, right?
yeah, and we can start.
Tonight would have been a good night.
Right. Yeah, we can put it on there for, say, the next agenda, and if it's a lot, we only get through some. That's fine.
Okay. Good. Thank you. And then other projects?
Just some updates on the comprehensive plan. As we all know, that's been completed, and I'll be getting the very final version online. Easy link there, mymonona.com/comprehensive plan. If anyone would like a printed final copy, double-sided in color, let me know and I'll get a bound version. Okay, one.
I would definitely like.
Okay. Otherwise, I'll make sure it's online and as requested.
I'm out of coasters at work, that's
Yeah,
all.
sure.
Got a plastic cover, right?
Right. It will work well. The strategic plan, we went through this process with city staff internally in 2014. It's a 2-year prioritization of goals and objectives. So I don't think during that process the Plan Commission looked at it in detail, but wanted to let you know that we're working on that again and just looking at what we accomplished in that strategic plan. I think there are opportunities where it would align with the implementation goals of the comprehensive plan. So if it's something you'd like to see, I can bring that here as well.
Feedback? Want to see it or no? I think we'll have enough on our plate.
Okay. And I don't have any updates on the university year program aside from the previous meeting where a faculty member and the program director came. It was very helpful for them to hear directly from the Plan Commission some feedback, and the CDA met with those two same individuals the following night and also gave them some good feedback. So they'll be integrating those things into the fall coursework.
Thank you very much. Staff report.
So would we have with that, would we have some sort of feedback on findings in December after a semester, or maybe checkpoints along the way?
Yes, and we can check in as often as we'd like as a commission. I think at minimum we maybe would want to see where they are mid-semester and get some updates to you all and make sure that they're on the right track that we provided direction on. Otherwise, there will be an organized kickoff event in August, and that'll be held on campus, and the provost will be invited, and a lot of people on campus to get the leadership excited around this partnership that they hope to expand throughout the rest of the state too. So,
A little reunion for you, huh?
all my buddies.
Comments, questions on?
No, sir.
None? All right. Thank you, Sonia. B, Plan Commission request for information concerning development projects. Any questions? I skipped one. Upcoming meetings. May 9th, 23rd. Anything coming up on the agenda for either of those?
The potential facade improvement grant application for the former GT Mobility site. I think she is looking at May 23rd for that application. And we have the recodification. So that could be the only thing we look at on May 9th, or we could cancel May 9th.
My guess would be we might push that off.
Okay.
Sonia, I will not be here for the May 9th meeting.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, that's for sure now.
Request for information, any?
I'm just
Go ahead.
on TV tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Never mind. I'm just picturing a planning commission meeting with Sonia and Jim sitting there with themselves.
That won't happen. Okay, we are at the end. Thank you very much, Sonia.
Thank you.
Do we have some motion for adjournment?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Second down there. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Shortest meeting ever.
I think